Hello and welcome to Car Dealer Live. My name is James Batchelor. Now, having the right finance partner can really increase a car dealer's efficiency and profits. But how can dealers find the right partner? Joining me to speak more about this is Ciara Raison, Chief Commercial Officer at Oodle Car Finance. Hello.
Hello, James. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure having you on. Now let's get stuck into it then. Well, before we do, actually, before we get on to the subject of car finance, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your role within Oodle.
Yeah, surely. So I'm Ciara. I'm originally from Derry in Northern Ireland. So I don't know if you've seen the Channel 4 series. So an original Derry girl. I currently live in York, which is just a beautiful place to live, and it also gives me really great access to getting out to meet lots of dealers across the UK. So my role at Oodle, as you say, I'm the Chief Commercial Officer. So that means that one, I create and develop the commercial strategy, so based on our purpose to give people confidence in the car buying journey. And secondly, I'm responsible for how we then take that strategy out to the market and deliver on our mission to be the UK's favourite way to find and finance used cars.
Mm. So how have the first few months been for you?
Yeah, the first few months, I think I'm still counting in weeks actually. I'm nearly at month three. So they've been absolutely brilliant. Really great combination of being out on the road, meeting with lots of dealers and partners, and also some time with the various teams across the business, get to know them, hearing all their ideas and their suggestions for Oodle. I've joined Oodle, which is such a thriving and forward thinking business. They've got really advanced approaches on how to use technology and integrations with other platforms to try and make that car buying journey as easy, fast, and simple as possible. So I think with everything I know about what dealers want from lenders, what they want from their motor finance partner, it's been really exciting to learn about what Oodle can offer today, as well as exploring how our technology can unlock so much more opportunity to come.
Mm. Do you have a bit of sort of a motor trade background? Have you got any sort of had any relationships with the motor trade in the past, or is this
Yeah,
completely new to you?
no, not completely new. So I've always worked in finance, but the first 10 years of my career were in retail banking. So both the personal customers, but also business customers. And then I entered the motor finance market about 10 years ago now. So hopefully in the last 10 years, I've picked up enough knowledge and expertise around what dealers want from their motor finance partners.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. Well, let's move on to the finance sector and what's facing dealers. So, what do you think are the biggest challenges facing car dealers at the moment? Are
Yeah. So I think we all probably know that managing cash flow is essential for all businesses. And for UK car dealers, with the peaks and troughs being so much more pronounced, managing their cash flow is probably the biggest challenge that they face. They've got a lot to juggle. They're balancing the supply and demand of vehicles through a period of quite unprecedented volatility in both the trade and retail prices. They've got an uncertain economic and political climate and wider global issues impacting their business. And they're also working in this ever shifting landscape, whether that's from a regulatory lens or also the advancement and acceleration of technology, as you've mentioned. So they've got a lot to juggle. So keeping up to speed with everything really is their biggest challenge, whilst trying to manage that cash flow and keep their business going.
I mean, you mentioned profitability there, but I mean, sort of wrapped up within that, of course, is productivity. I mean, what do you think dealers can do to when it comes to finance to increase their productivity?
Yeah. So I think whilst we've just talked about those challenges facing UK car dealers, at the very heart of what they're doing is a really simple business model. So they want to help more customers buy more cars more often, more simply, and more profitably. So being able to access car finance solutions for as many of those customers as possible, that really facilitates that business model. So, first thing I would think about for a dealer is they really should use integrations as the most efficient way to connect lots of customers with their panel of lenders as the optimum way to ensure that they really get the best outcome for each customer. I think, secondly, they should use lenders, motor finance partners with the technology capability to facilitate that full end to end digital journey as quickly as possible in as few steps as possible. So if I give you an example, so at Oodle, step one, Oodle's technology is integrated with multiple other platforms, which means that we can underwrite 99% of customers automatically in a few seconds. We can then validate that customer's income, assess their affordability, so that the dealer knows right from the beginning what that customer's monthly budget's likely to be and the types of vehicles that they should therefore be able to show them. And then when the dealer comes to closing that sale, the customer's chosen their vehicle, they're ready to complete the car buying journey. Oodle can send all that documentation digitally and then complete all of the final checks automatically to get those funds released to the dealer. So really good example in my first few weeks at Oodle is Easter Sunday. We were closed, but the technology meant that we were still able to continue receiving customer proposals, underwriting them, and paying out those funds to dealers because the technology works even when we're at home. So the top tips I would give for dealers are to make sure you capture that customer's information correctly right at the outset, because that saves you so much time then through the journey. If you get the income correctly, all the integrations can validate the customer's affordability. If you get as much information accurate at the start, they'll then move through that journey without friction. And overall, I think the customer's experience of that dealership as a whole will be even better, and they're more likely to choose that dealer again for their next purchase. So that all wraps into that efficiency, the profitability, the productivity, and just making things as easy and as simple as possible.
With so many car sales done through finance, car dealers, they need to have the right finance partner. I mean, what do you think the right partnership is?
So I think the right partnership comes from a partner that understands the dealer, that speaks their language, that can talk to them, jargon free, that understands the ambitions of that dealership and how they can help fulfill those ambitions. So when there's complex things happening, perhaps from a regulatory landscape, a partner that can translate that, simplify that, and guide the dealership through the things that they need to do. So it's really that marriage between understanding the dealership and what they need and what they want, and all of the pain points and opportunities that come into that dealership, and how you can enhance that really simple business model with helping them sell more cars more often, more simply, and more profitably.
Now we hear a lot about focusing on the customer, and of course, particularly in the context of consumer duty, because that's a huge thing over the past 12 months. I mean, what does this actually mean in practice, do you think?
Yeah. So I suppose I could probably summarize consumer duty in one sentence. It's for dealers to think about, how do you communicate to your customers in a way they understand through every step of the journey. So if they think about the journey in a car buying, think about the car buying journey, think about the first step. So customers decided that they want to buy a car, and they likely start that journey online. So they might have seen one of the dealers' adverts, they might have looked on their website, they might have even received a newsletter. So dealers can get off to a really great start here. Can they get the basics right, so that that website shows their FCA license, their ICO registration, their complaints policy? Do they display any finance calculations? Are they correct? Are they compliant? Are they representative of all their customers? And is the language nice and simple and clear and jargon free, so that anyone could understand it? So if a dealer walks through each step of that journey and really thinks about how well they communicate with the customer at each step, that's an excellent way for them, to be able to evidence the really high standards that they set for how they treat their customers. And I think through each stage of the journey, it's also making sure the dealership's looking out for any vulnerable characteristics that the customer might be displaying, or any vulnerable circumstances that the customer might be experiencing, and to maybe take some additional time and care with those customers.
Yeah, it's been a bit of time now since Consumer Duty appeared on the scene. I mean, do you think it's fully bedded in to the industry now, or do you think there's still some dealers out there who are perhaps struggling with it?
Yeah. So I think, when there's any change in an industry, whether that's, a change in regulation or standards or the introduction of new standards such as this, there can be that initial degree of nervousness. But we've been working with it for some time now. And I think the vast majority of people in our industry have recognized it's a great opportunity to ensure that that standard of care that all firms in the industry provide to customers is even higher, and also given us a really great opportunity to help improve the reputation of the industry as a whole. So, we know that from speaking to customers, the most important thing to them when they consider taking out vehicle finance is, number one, can they afford that product? The second most important thing is, do they know that they've paid a fair price for the product? And thirdly, that they've got that right product for their own individual circumstances. So what we're finding is that, dealers do want some help. They want to have this consumer duty simplified, and they want to be guided through it. So Oodle, prior to me joining the business, they've created a really super guide to consumer duty. I've got really great feedback from dealers how that's helped them. It's really well received, really well used, and can still be downloaded from the website. So I think some people have really embraced change, as will always happen. Where there's been that wee bit more nervousness, it's using guides such as this, and using your motor finance partner to help you navigate through anything that you maybe need to do to raise the standards in your business.
Mm, mm. You touched on it earlier on about how your technology was helping out over the Easter weekend.
Yeah.
Um, but on a wider level, how do you think technology is impacting on on motor finance at the moment?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, as you say, that the heart of every UK dealer's model is that really simple business model of helping more customers buying more cars more often, simply and profitably. And what technology has done is unlock that business model and enable dealers to do everything much faster, much easier, much simpler, and more efficiently. So if you think about historically, car dealerships would have used multiple different portals and would have had a heavy amount of manual work to help their customers access finance products that facilitate the purchase of those cars. So with technology, the vast amount of those manual stages of the process have now been automated, which is freeing up that dealer's time and energy into helping even more customers. So I suppose gone are the days when the customer can be sat in that dealership drinking endless cups of tea, making small chat while they're waiting on that finance decision from the lender. So today, Oodle, we can give that dealer a decision on their customer in seconds and release the funds back to that dealer the same day. Gone are the days where the customers maybe needed to revisit that dealership multiple times, going home to pick up some pay slips, pick up some bank statements, and the dealer maybe being worried that the customer might spot another car with another dealership on their way home. So today we can use open banking, we can use integrations with credit bureaus, so all of that customer income and affordability can be validated instantly while the customer can still be sat waiting in the dealership. So I think I'm a bit of a latter day technologist. And in the motor industry over the last 10 years, I've absolutely loved seeing how technology is just making this journey and this process easier and easier. So it's great.
Mhm. Yeah, and particularly how I know they're still in their infancy, but they make up a small proportion of car sales, but online end-to-end transactions is only going to grow, we're
Yeah.
told. You need to
Yeah.
have those, you need to be able to react quickly because the customer wants it done instantly, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's what I loved about that example, on Easter Sunday, that there was customers that we were still able to help go through that whole journey while we were closed, because we've set up Oodle on the back of some fantastic technology to be able to facilitate that end-to-end digital journey.
Hmm. Now, finally, Ciara, now, if there are any words of, I mean, do you have any words of advice that you could give dealers around motor finance? I mean, if you have them, I mean, what are they?
Yeah, so I love a good quote or a good proverb. So I've probably got an African proverb that springs to mind, and that is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So what that means is, in motor finance, work with a partner, like we discussed earlier, who's an expert in motor finance, who speaks your language, understands your business, and can guide you through this ever-shifting landscape. So really working with a partner who helps the dealer fulfill their ambitions. So I know the mission at Oodle is to be the favourite way that customers finance their used cars and to put a wee bit of joy back into the car buying journey. So that would be my best advice: is if you want to go far, go together and work with a really strong motor finance partner.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the first time we've ended with the proverb, and that's fantastic. I think we might make sure we end more car dealer lives like that. But for today, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Okay, thanks very much, James.
Well, that's it for today's Car Dealer Live. Join us again very soon. Bye bye.